Good morning, friends. Pastor Zack here with another devotional connection this week. And today I am focusing in on 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 and 10, specifically verse 9. I don't know about you, but this week I had a very challenging week. And when I was sitting down, spending some time with Jesus, thinking about, man, what encouragement can I find in some of the challenges I've been facing? The passage that came up for me is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 and 10. And God brought it to mind, and I felt like he was telling me, Zach, spend some time in these passages, linger here, memorize these verses. And so in 1 Corinthians 12, verse 9, Paul says, "But he, God, said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." So Paul says, "Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." Oftentimes, when I come up against some of my own insecurities, some of my own shortcomings, some of my own failings, I feel weak. I don't know about you. I don't feel strong like I should or like I want to. But this passage brings me so much encouragement because the focus isn't on me or my weakness, but on Christ and his sufficiency. In verse 9, he says, "It's my grace that is sufficient for you. It is enough for you," Jesus says. And then he goes on to say, "It is my power that's made perfect in your lack of power or in your weakness." So I love this. When we're feeling challenged, when we're feeling pressed, when we're encountering hardships and we feel weak, we can know that in those moments, Jesus' grace is sufficient for all of our needs. We can know in those moments that it's actually his power that now becomes perfected in our weakness. It's the tool that makes it work. The other day, I was hanging pictures in my house trying to get these frames up, and I was using a stud finder against the wall to try to find the stud so I can make sure the nails are going in the right place, so they should be in their proper, their proper place. And I think of that stud finder, that device that helps me find where the nail needs to go. So it's like this. Jesus is saying, my power, in order for it to be applied, has to be lined up with your weaknesses. Not necessarily our strength. God doesn't need our strength, but he wants our weaknesses. And when his power lines up with our weaknesses, that's when we are made strong. So what does Paul say? He says, I'm not going to hide my weaknesses. I'm not going to try to ignore them. But he says, therefore, what I'll do is I'll boast most gladly of them, so that the power of God may rest upon me. Friends, may the power of God rest upon you this week as you encounter all sorts of challenges, knowing that Jesus' grace is sufficient for you and me, and to remember that his power is perfected in our weakness and shortcomings. Be blessed.